one of the things that really, kind of eats at me is based on that conversation we had. It's the fact that companies or business leaders specifically are trying to hit, specific company targets and business objectives. But if you look at the amount of time that they hit it, it's on the minor end. The majority of the time, or the bulk of the time, they're not hitting the targets they're specifically trying to nail.
Yeah, look, on average, that'd be a fair comment. I mean, they'd admit that too. And one of the other things that I think affect it quite dramatically is that there's a plethora of projects that they're doing, but they're not delivering the value,
Right.
closing that gap.
Yeah. Do you think that, project overload and issue overload contributes to it?
Oh, look, absolutely. I mean, we dilute the effort that needs to go into focusing on the right things, and that continually is a frustration that they have. I mean, in addition to that, it leads to what I call destructive improvement. And again, it's all about, you've got great resources, smart people, but we're deploying them in ways, or distributing in ways, and focusing them in areas that won't actually deliver the value and close that gap.
Yeah, they're not doing that with wrong intent. They're doing the improvements with intent, with the positive intent of getting the targets. I think that's that fact that they're kind of silo-oriented.
Well, that's part of it.
And,
I think that's part of it, and I think it's a time frame thing too. What they're looking at in terms of what time frame, if it's short time frame or longer time frame, and there's two different ways to approach those two different sort of issues.
Yeah. Are they engaging the right kind of people, or the right people in the organisations?
Look, there's the other thing that I've noticed quite a bit is that we've got room to move there. Typically senior management, middle management have some roles in there. It tends not to be the case the further, through the layers that you go. And quite frankly, a lot of value can be had out of people that are, making money effectively while we're sleeping in organisations. Not only from a solutions point of view, but sustainability point of view, ongoing benefit.
Yeah. If these people at the workplace who are actually doing the work are developing the solutions, what's the value for a business leader or a line manager?
Well, easy outcome there is that they're going to be more able to maintain those solutions. I mean, they've invented them. It's dealing with the concept of the not invented here syndrome in a positive way.
Right. The interesting part is too, when that happens, it frees up the line manager too. Their headspace is not on solutions trying to solve the thing, but it's more about providing a support and framework
being around, being a leader.
Exactly. It pulls them out of detail.
Absolutely, and creating the space. And that also cascades into having more time to do and focus on the longer term issues.
Right.
They need to be.
Right. There's definitely a frustration there. I see that consistently in the companies, because you and I deal with different companies in our portfolio of clients, though there's an overlap on some of them. But consistently, I know through our conversations, we're seeing this frustration where year after year they're trying to hit those targets, and there's a sense that they're not doing it well.
Well, there's that gap you talked about earlier, and that gap keeps on appearing. And quite often the argument will be, well, we're doing a lot of projects and we're closing that gap. However, there's other stuff that's actually opening back up.
Right.
And I think that is an issue in itself that we've got to be able to address and lock down. But I think the other thing that situation develops is, a feeling of we're never getting there. We're falling behind. In fact,
right.
The gap's always there. And we're trying really hard, and we're always inching up, trying to get better outcomes. But we're always got this sort of gap between where we are and where we want to be. And that frustrates people. And I've seen a lot of BI specialists and managers, business improvement specialists and managers who are responsible for working in trying to close that gap, who have become disillusioned by the whole process because they're not able to do it.
Yeah, it's funny. It's a fine line between having the gaps between where you are and where you need to be, which is a good thing. Well-run businesses have those gaps, and the contrasting position where you've got the gaps but you're frustrated with it. If you're able to move much faster forward, it kind of deals with it, but that's where we want to be.
Absolutely.
So people watching this or listening to this, we need to give them something that they can walk away with. So let's give them some steps specifically, and these relate to definitely our thinking about how you solve this based on what we see works.
Yeah. Look, George, It's no secret. I mean, literature talks about it a lot, but the first step in any effort like this is really engaging the senior leadership team. You know, people like general managers, direct reports, and in that space. They really need to have a clear understanding of the end-to-end supply chain and collaboratively work on identifying where the enemy within that is. The enemy being, you know, we're not getting throughput, we're not closing the gap where it matters. And once that happens, you start to get a sense of confidence from that group of people.
Yeah.
And they can actually stay the line to start working through the process more effectively.
Yeah. It's interesting because to do that well, it would take a shift in thinking on how you measure performance within those functions too.
Yeah, look, I think part of the problem with initiative overload is the many KPIs that continue to appear.
Yeah.
You know, and clearly, you know, business is fairly straightforward. What they've got to be able to achieve is more with less, and more is the throughput that we're talking about.
Yeah. So step number 2 comes straight from that, and that's where we look at that value stream and you analyse it specifically to find what are those, you know, use the word common enemy points, focal points, that if we improve those, it has a direct, tangible benefit that relates to either throughput or cost minimisation or both.
Look, absolutely. The interesting thing about that is you mentioned earlier during the session that organisations hit those targets from time to time, but on average they don't.
Yeah.
The fact that they do hit them from time to time, it shows you that they know how to do it, or there is an element of how to be able to do it.
Right.
The problem is that it's hampered with the downside, the times that they don't. Now, if you know what the difference is, and this is the purpose of the analysis, if you can work out the difference, and often you can, then you can look at solutions to closing that gap. It's as simple as that.
Yeah. What about step 3?
Using the BI resources, you know, business improvement resources, you've got some, in most of the organisations we work with, they've got some very skilled leaders in that space. You know, people that not only can manage projects very effectively, are very good at being able to do analysis in a different way to what regularly happens in most organisations, you know, using more advanced techniques and concepts. And then the last bit is being able to then, you know, get the group together, coalesce the group together to start focusing on those activities. So using those resources effectively is a critical component.
Yeah. Step 4 is, or you know, element 4 of this is very close to my heart, and you know, because we've written about it a number of times. And it's, if you're going to use these people, which you do have to, they're a resource that is wasted otherwise, then they should be doing stuff but doing it quickly. The bottom line is, line managers have got to get results fast. They've got to be results that relate specifically to what it is that's going to serve them in, you know, their business metrics or whatever it might be.
Yeah.
How do they get them? How do they do it quickly?
Well, again, you know, it's all about this focused effort.
Right.
You know, we talked about earlier. You know, find the enemy, find a couple of them, and then just throw the resources at it and deal with it. So resources being, you know, time, place, people, place, you know, all that sort of stuff. Yeah. But additionally, we need support. You know, managers being able to keep the distractions away from these people that have got this special project, I guess, in a way. You know, keep the distractions away and let them do what they need to do. Yeah. And the third thing is being able to effectively give them the time, you know, not doing it as part-time activity or effort.
If they're going to do it, then spend time on it and have the space to do it properly.
Absolutely. You know, the thing that's interesting about delivering projects very quickly, there's no reason why you can't. You know, projects can be delivered in a very short space of time.
I've seen them a week long.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, there's a little bit of prep work to do and, you know, a little bit of tidy up, but, you know, effectively the core of it is a week. Yeah. The thing that really is important to understand, though, is that the faster you do them, the more repetition you get, the better you get at it. Yeah. And success, as we know, breeds success.
Yeah. And successful change leads to change being a positive thing, not a negative thing.
Absolutely.
Yeah.